Yep, we're doing another one here. It seems to be a bit of a roll here. Mainly just because I need to just get content every little bit. This is when 5 cents, 2 cents. You need to get some content up so it'll add up. I do have one video that is doing very well. I need to, despite the fact I don't want to push the issue any further for fear of the subject of said video digging her heels in even further and being very counterproductive. It is, however, actually making some, it's up to about $2, but that's the best video I've had going in a while. And I might actually just repost it and urge for, most of you people are dropping out after the first 3 minutes. It's like, here's the stuff you're missing. So I had to go through that. You just do a little, stuff you're missing after the first 3 minute mark. You go, bye-bye. You're missing a halfway decent Weird Al Yankovic reference. You're missing a detailed analysis of why Mickey Indy's doing what she's doing and why she's late to her streams all the damn time. Well, if you want to do you look at the playback, or you got to skip about 20 minutes to get past the intro thing before you finally get a live camera. And a little constructive criticism regarding her baking tactics, because the video in question, I did cut out a lot, but a lot was her baking some cupcakes. The idea was to it was lemon flavor, but she added blue food coloring. And somehow it didn't quite register. Yellow cake batter. Lemon is yellow. What do you do when you add blue food coloring to it? It's gonna turn green. Okay. So yeah, they apparently they came out, tasted incredible. But you want to do blue, you got to get white. Like angel food cake or something. Something white cake. So it's not going to be color. So you'll get that blue color. And I thought, it's basic stuff, okay? She's an artist. She's been cooking for a while. But anyway, and before I get a thing, I am not playing your stupid little I'm with Megyn Kelly now. I'm not playing these stupid pronoun games anymore, okay? It's a gateway drug to insanity, and I'm not playing that no more, okay? So, I know I'm talking, one person showed up. And what do we got coming up here? I just want to start going. Something gets notified. Yeah, well. Yeah. Well, someone liked my comment on Culture Casino's recent thing about, the trials and tribulations going on at Anheuser-Busch. And my thing, the real solution to how to avoid a boycott like that is make beer good enough the folks aren't going to drop it and never come back. I think it's a big reason why this thing has taken hold so much, because it's Bud Light. It's lousy beer. They go out, even just Coors Light. There's more to it than that. Tell you what, if you ever happen to find yourself in Golden, Colorado, and make sure, the Coors Brewery Tour, it's just by itself, it's something you need to see. But halfway through, they get a chance, little cup, a sample, and you got a choice of either regular Coors or Coors Light. And they're about the same thing. And you'll notice there's actually some color there. It's actually something there in the beer. Budweiser? How many of you have actually seen what Budweiser looks like? It is a pale yellow. I mean, a healthy urination is darker than a Budweiser. And I imagine a Bud Light is not any better. It's like you could, no. You want a beer. You want something there. Okay. Now, I'm not necessarily I'll tell you what, I am wanting to do a shepherd's pie one of these days, and probably have to do a little more from scratch, a little more traditional thing. Because, I try and get the Coleman's mix from the World Market so I can get the proper thing. But a little thing traditional, because shepherd's pie is really more Irish than British per se, or English. But good is you cook you brown up the meat, the lamb meat, in Guinness. I mean, you're cooking out the alcohol, but you cook, but you add some Guinness into the meat when you brown it. So when I finally get around to getting the stuff, I'm at the head of the World Market South on the south side of town because the one up here doesn't have it. God knows when they're going to do. The gal thing was surprised they didn't have any because normally they do. But there's another World Market I know of on South Wadsworth. Check them out. And when I finally get ready to do another shepherd's pie, I'm going to make sure I pick up some Guinness at the store. And we're going to do this right. A proper shepherd's pie. And a proper shepherd's pie requires lamb, minced lamb meat, okay? You don't put beef. That's a cottage pie, you heathens. All right. That's it. What are we going to do tonight here, though? One, if anybody does it, we got two people so far. If someone's going to shout out a topic here, I'd appreciate it. But I think I might actually see about getting some work done because I'm needing to update the fan film retrospective. It's been a few years.
Oh boy.
What? What?
So, what do you call it if the pie includes lamb and beef?
Confused. Could make up your bloody mind.
That's what Jimmy does.
You just need a pound of meat, okay? I mean, how much freaking how big a shepherd's pie is she making here? Lamb and beef? Good grief! Come on, you feeding the entire block?
Probably something to do with the cost, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, lamb is not cheap. The odd thing is, this is from our very Irish supervisor up in when we were up KG&U. She's from Dublin. Okay, Maeve. Lamb is that's what you get over in Ireland if you can't afford anything else, because they got sheep all over the damn place. So lamb is like dirt poor meat. You can't afford to get ground beef. You get lamb. Over here, it's like it is not shocking to find lamb at about approaching $10 a pound, especially nowadays. So that's usually why
only one place we've ever gotten a pound of ground lamb for cheaper than $10.
Well, sometimes actually, $7.99 I think was the last one I paid for one. And I also generally put it on the food card. Let the county pay for it.
There was that sale that they had at Aldi when we were still having.
Well, yeah, there's that, but that was that's 2 years ago in Florida. Okay, and that's Aldi. They specialize in stuff like that. But let's just chalk that up to the Cattlemen's Association did a very good job at discouraging sheep herders. They never really took hold like they thought they would. Grape juice for the record. No, I'm saving the bottle of wine. I'm thinking when Indy comes to her senses and says, "Okay, I'll do the EMDR treatment." Okay, then I'll crack open the wine. Okay, then it's time to celebrate. Okay, yeah, now she's finally gonna get the treatment she needs, and not the constant sunshine blowing up her ass. Oh no, where are you? Yeah, I am ready to any of these. If you haven't seen What Is a Woman, Matt Walsh's documentary, see it. Definitely see it. That is a game changer of a movie. Okay, and it definitely pulls the lid off all this crap on it, and then lets the people in charge and favor hang themselves. Just in the simple fact that the simple question and the title of me, what is a woman? They can't answer it. You can't answer a basic question like that. Well, it depends. Someone who identifies as a woman. Yeah, well, what is a woman? Okay. When they start using the same word in their argument, it's like, no, you're not answering the question. It is psychosis. I don't want to go down to conspiracy theories of why they're pushing this thing. I think some factors is just that they've gone so far around the bend that they're trying Some are trying to sow social chaos in order to upend everything and create the workers' nirvana. And some are just sick perverts. Because a lot of this stuff is like it's being and before anything about it's hard the gay community where it started off LGB lesbian gays bisexuals they're ready to throw the trans over the bridge at this point because they're rooting for it. It's ruining what they fought long enough for the rights and there's like mission accomplished guys we've got the rights shut up you're making it worse. Because guess what? People think gays now. They're thinking drag queens, twerking in front of 5-year-olds. Teaching the little 8-year-old daughter how to get money, get grown men to stuff money down her G-string. That's what they're thinking now of gays. That's why you got groups like Gays Against Groomers saying, "No, stop this. This is hurting everybody now. You're driving it backwards." The screwy thing is, this whole thing has turned me into a hardcore women's rights and gay rights activist now. This is not the way I thought I would handle my 50s. Going to the. I'm actually starting to appreciate Helen Reddy's, song "I Am Woman." It's like, yeah. And thinking some of the people who are supportive of that, you realize, like Lady Gaga, you realize they have taken Born This Way and totally subverted it. They've totally destroyed the message of that song. Born This Way, damn it. And now well, not necessarily. If you're going that way, hey, we can change you. We can, and we can fix you. This is years and years ago. I was in, a not too dissimilar discussion on old BBS. Very fringe, the Commodore 64 people, and it was part of the thing of the debate over whether or not it's inborn or learned, and I kind of threw it out there. Okay, let's say it is innate, it's genetic. What's going to stop somebody from isolating that gene one of these days and putting forth, we can fix this? So that be careful what you wish for and trying to make it declared that this is an innate thing, it's inborn, you can't change it. Okay, well then, if that's the case, well, genetic therapy is coming along greatly now. We can fix this. Guess what? We're now there. Not doing gene therapy, but taking the sexual reassignment surgery. They used to be like if you had to be a grown-ass adult after going years and years and years of therapy and haven't finally determined that this is the only way we're going to, make you comfortable in your own skin. They've now broadened the definition so damn wide that Jazz Jennings, perfect example right there. Well, I guess the yelling helps. You want a link, bro? I'll send you one. We can really have fun. Jazz Jennings, the whole story in that one is supposedly at the age of like 2 or 3 announced, "Mommy, I'm a little born a boy. I'm a girl." It's like, now once upon a time, little boy comes in and like wearing mommy's dress and you might be a little concerned they're going to come out gay eventually, but you're not going to take the 2-year-old at their word when they say they're such and such. Because they're little kids. They don't know anything. That's why we send them to school to teach them. Okay? Well, then nowadays it's like, and if we end up with a child, by some minor miracle, that's like it's not going near the public school system. I will homeschool. I would, My mom was a teacher. I've been around enough. I will homeschool that kid myself. Okay. But just rounded into it. I think it's because I'm thinking about doing a little promotion of the indie video a bit, and kind of like, for those of you tuning out after 3 minutes, here's what you miss. You're missing the thrilling analysis, of various things, like why Indy's always late to her live streams, that sort of thing. But also, I just seen the Matt Walsh thing the other day, and yeah, if you haven't seen it, see it. But this whole thing is like, and during Pride Week of all places, most it's the sort of thing of why a lot of gays really hate the month of June, because it's turned into a freaking circus. Put these up here. And I figured this one a while back, because we got a gay friend who was up in Boulder. I think he's in Westminster now. But talking about after we'd worked Pride Fest for the station, and it is kind of embarrassing, because all these years trying to get accepted, as normal people, and what happens? You get the weirdos coming out, look like Broderick Crawford in a dress, and teenage girls looking for an excuse to walk around topless with just painting the stickers on their tits. It's like, yeah, this is what worked so hard after Stonewall and all that. It's like, really? It's like, we're normal, just like you. Oh, no, you're not. and again, like, the people were taking their kids to these things. Are you out of your freaking mind? What are they? But now it's gone well beyond that. Now it's not just going around and seeing stuff that normally you need a $5 cover and a 3-drink minimum to see. Now it's just because the old day, we're not recruiting anybody. No, this is the thing. Now they are actively, openly recruiting. They're trying to get, and there's a lot of cranky old evangelicals that are going, I told you so. It's like, and these are not the types you really want to give that kind of leverage to. Let's be real. But yeah, definitely, if you haven't seen the Matt Walsh thing, what is going? I love the ending too. Not going to spoil them much, but like, after talking to all these pinhead intellectuals, and also getting the other side where it's like, no, this is what happened. These are the two pedos that started this thing. Alfred Kinsey and John Money, those two right there. Hope they're burning in hell because they're both started crap and falsified their evidence. That's the big thing. I like to say, I like to list them right along Joseph Mengele, but Mengele was a better scientist. He didn't lie about his findings. These guys, got all rich and happy, destroying lives. Get up there. Here we go. Okay. That's it. For the record, I am currently engaged in one of these phone games that actually does pay a little bit of money here. Got a couple bucks worked up so far. I don't want to keep it going here, and I have to do it once a day, and I haven't done it today, so I got to get that out of the way.
Oh. Oh, ow.
Anyway, say hi to bro. Steph? Stephanie.
What?
Say hi to bro.
Hey.
Oops. All right. Now.
I'm going to bed.
Okay. You may do that.
So I turn the light on.
All right. Well. When I do that, I need to turn this camera off because we don't need to get in that kind of free show here. It's not this kind of channel. Certainly not on YouTube. And Bro says, hey.
Oh,
I gotta put that there. That there. It's kind of one of those little range of things. Get an entire row and it zonks out and I think I might actually pivot to working on updating the script on the fan film retrospective. Because I don't think I've taken into account. I mean, there's not much to update as far as Axonar goes because nothing's really happened on that front. Nor do I expect anything to happen on that front because Alec Peters is having too much fun just milking his, acolytes for every dime they can talk him out of without ever actually having to make a bloody film. Whereas we got a nice counterexample, Samuel Calkins, we know from Trek Yards. He's cranked out about a dozen fan films. I'm going to start doing some. I've done some of them in the fan film watch party. I'm going to do a few more of those, but I might just start the whole thing all over again with that. Here we go. And I would like to get him on the channel for an interview, but I got to figure out what the hell to ask him first. Okay. But I don't want to just blanketly ask him and then he'll just come back with, oh, yeah, sure. No, okay, well, I don't know what to say. I want to make sure I get that lined up first. What will the interview consist of first? Otherwise, I'm just. So they've interacted some, in comments and stuff, and when I've gone on the chat on Trek Yards. So it would be like, who are you? No, I think they know me over there. And I actually, it was on one of Rosetta's streams that Stewart popped in, Captain Foley. And finally, after, after, kind of trading comments here and there, and he shows up in these, once in a while, if he doesn't show up on the live stream, he'll show up and comment on things. But he's, but we know each other. And actually, our attitudes regarding aspects of new, modern day Star Trek are very simpatico. But they're in a position they got to play fair with everybody. So, and they, their job at Trek Yard is to, analyze ship designs and stuff. And that's why a lot of the ship. No, that's not what because when they do let the opinions slide on what they really think of the shows, they fit right in right here, okay? They're perfectly in line with the attitude here that modern day Star Trek largely is crap, okay? And Alex Kurtzman is a pox upon the entire world of Star Trek, and we need him to go as soon as humanly possible. Unfortunately, that stupid contract makes that unlikely to happen anytime soon. It's got to go somewhere here. Okay. But it's got to go here, I guess. And now I'm probably. There we go. I'm surprising myself at what I'm doing here. But I want to get this done first. Anyway, if any questions from, well, nobody's here. Okay. Never mind. But anyway, showing up here really late. And now, mind you, also, for those tuning in for the reruns, questions in the comment section will also be answered in due time. Yeah, let's see if we can get that there. Yes. This is the kind of game that just kind of, you gotta, keep with it. You can't just bail after a while. I mean, this particular one is called, get out of the way. I think Zen something over here. Rats. Okay. There we go. Go. Right now, I have to rack up. Let's see. Rack up 2,050 coins. I'm at 808 right now. So there. Put that one there. All right. So, I know a lot of the views I got on that video are, some of her, oh so supportive fans, and how dare this, cranky old man not affirm her identity. But guys, I am an observer of objective reality. Okay? And also, I have, off and on, kind of been an amateur student of this particular aspect of human behavior for many, many years. It has always, been strange, and it's just gotten weirder and weirder. But part of it is like, I think it's, because gender is one of those subjects of human behavior that it's never really been properly, understood. Partly because it's like so many weirdos keep sticking their nose in it, and falsifying the records. And there's an old principle in computer programming: garbage in, garbage out. We're getting nothing but garbage lately, and as a result, we're getting garbage results. And when you're experimenting on kids, that is not good. Because I think, the tide is turning. The backlash is happening. The Dylan Mulvaney thing is a prime example. Okay, that's it. You've gone too far. One thing, and also the Loudoun County School District in Virginia, when you had a kid claiming to be trans, sexually assaulted a girl in the girls' bathroom. And not only would they not acknowledge that it happened, they covered it up by moving the kid to a different school. And what happens? He assaults another girl in the bathroom. And to really get cute, the father of the first girl tries to speak up at a school board meeting on this whole thing. And they have him basically arrested and thrown out of the thing. And it's just, that's the reason why Virginia went Republican. in the last election. Okay, because you mess with people's kids, that's it, game over. Because they finally found what's it going to take for these people to wake the hell up and realize that these people are not your friends. They don't have your best interest at heart. They finally found what's finally going to get them to wake up when they start messing with your kids. Here we go. Oh, okay, Rosetta, want to join in? I can send you a link rather quick here. There we go. Whoops. Just sent you. Let's see. Put that there. Put that there. And that there. And put that there. There we go. Yeah, I don't put the link in the chat because I don't, I want to keep some control of this because, recent activity has kind of enraged certain people. I don't want them coming in. They're welcome in chat, but I'm not necessarily going to get them in here. Let's see. Check your Twitter. Okay. There we go. Oh, it made a noise. There we go.
How you doing?
Oh, just mainly debating what I'm going to do tonight.
I'm trying to get a couple shorts posted. I kind of lacked them the last couple of days because I've been so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be seeing my father-in-law in a couple of days. So, well, I haven't seen him since my 30th birthday. So,
okay.
I'm going to be 40 this year.
It's amazing how fast that fucking goes.
And according to almost every person I talk to, they say, no, you're not 40.
Up until recently, I was not. You just go back a few years, I was not this gray. Just a couple of years ago. So,
to be honest, I actually haven't really changed much in appearance in the last 20 years.
I mean, partially it may be, just the stress of what I've been through over the past few years.
You would think I'd have more stress than that. Then again, I do dye my hair. So there is that. Because I started going gray when I was like 23. So
yeah.
I'm actually posting some informative videos. They're actually many shorts are recorded up on Heady Draw on Mount Coolidge.
Okay.
Where I actually show people the detail on the pine cones and how they're budding and how they grow.
Mm-hmm.
Up close on the plants.
Oh, okay. While
I explain it. And then I show some of the scenery.
You can get that David Attenborough narrator voice there, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the voice I get when I start explaining things to my nieces, so I don't know. You'll have to listen to it and tell me what you think.
Okay. Now, and of course, some I've been ranting a little bit about, the thing about, because the analytics, like the indie video is doing very well for me on the channel. But most people tune out after about 3 minutes. And it's like, the other thing about just try to goose a little bit and like, here's what you're missing when you bail out, guys. Stick around. There's some good stuff later on in this thing.
Like
I thought a pretty decent explanation of why Indy's always late to her live streams. And also, it's like a little thing, like, with her plan on doing the blue cupcakes. Like, well, when using yellow cake batter and you have blue food coloring, What's that make, kids? Green.
Be fair now, nobody said she was intelligent.
Well, shouldn't they credit her being a better cook than that? So, Phoebe, come on, you know better. You're an artist, for God's sakes. Come on. You're actually a pretty good artist.
I think you're nicer to her than I am. She hasn't responded to anything I said, by the way.
Yeah, I poked around a bit to see if she did respond. But no.
I don't think she likes me very well.
We're sticking up for the PT stalkers.
The thing is, I don't care if people disagree or agree on shit. Just don't be an asshole about it.
Yeah.
And speaking of people that need ripped the fuck apart. Okay, so I commented on a couple of things with this woman today. And I was actually pretty polite on it. And it's a thread that came to me because of dealing with Indian U, by the way.
Okay.
It's some little bimbo defending all this crap over in Australia.
Oh, jeez.
On one of Kelly's threads.
Oh, okay.
And I was polite and I explained that, and I didn't know it was over in Australia because I was commenting in the car when I was taking a break while my husband was driving us from pick up my niece to get our food.
Well, Australia's done some weird things there, so
let me read a little bit of this to you and explain it here.
Oh boy.
It started simply enough with claiming that the right's nice until you step out of line. And I pointed out that, which is hilarious, as that was my experience with dealing with most of the hard left. They have no problem openly hating minorities, in fact, for going off the reservation, but they never truly accept me or anyone I know who we're always treated as we're tokens.
Is that the one I kind of put it in? I thought, somehow I read it, and I thought I saw Picardo on there as one of the.
No, that's not that one.
Oh, not that one? Okay.
And there's the commenting about the extremes and stuff, and then tries to claim that, well, some on the left might hate you when you say your opinions. They still support policies that protect people. No, they don't.
The hell they don't.
And you know I hate both sides, and I've criticized the fact that there's policies on both sides that are really destructive to people.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to listen to that comment and not call it out, considering the progressive history with my tribes.
Yeah.
So I said, so when they said but they generally support policies that protect people, I said, tell that to the women being destroyed and trafficked from the reservations due to the open borders and anti-gun laws. I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, when you admit you're an idiot. So I commented, no one does. The media shuts us out. Native women are being trafficked, murdered, raped at extinction level epidemics on many reservations and insane numbers at the others. Through the southern border, mostly to South America, while the government turns a blind eye and keeps us defenseless. Well, I live in Australia. Or in other words, you don't really know anything about this. You just follow what the global media lies and propaganda tell you. So who are you to judge? I never made any claims about indigenous issues in your country. So to be honest, you're not even on the topic. Now, the problem with this conversation is that comment came about 5 minutes after another comment she made on another thread based on the same chart. Because she split this into two lines on me.
Oh, boy.
So before I went ballistic on her for that comment, saying she didn't claim anything about indigenous or care or bring us into it. First of all, you're bringing up American politics. We're automatically a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
If you say we're not, you're basically saying we're not citizens. But actually, it gets closer to saying that directly. Whereas on the other one here, as we got down to it, she said, well, if the GOP wins your next election, we'll see how the average citizen is going to get when they start changing laws to their agenda. You mean like both parties do every election and have since before I was born? Yeah, it's not that big of a difference. Nanny State Red versus Nanny State Blue. Two wings of the same shitbird. The thing is that she said directly that she was concerned with how it would affect citizens.
Yeah.
if they win. And then when I commented on the other side, I wasn't talking about you indigenous people.
Oh.
So when you put those two together, she was basically saying we don't count.
That was not a good move. No.
Yeah, I went a little ballistic on her.
Yeah. Hold on. What? Rosetta's on here. That the thing she got tangled up in on Twitter. Anyway.
So when she made that comment about if the GOP wins, I retweeted that with a quote tweet on it. It said that I hate both sides. With the president out of our last four that actually decreased restrictions on Native rights, it was better to our people overall. It was actually Bush. Which is actually true. And I still detest him, but you are a hack. I don't like Bush, but I have to give him credit. He was actually really good to natives.
Yeah.
And he was. And I still don't like him overall.
Yeah.
And I still think he's a big government progressive overall. But again, look at his dad. Look at how he was raised. The difference between...
horrible damage to the party the way he did it.
The difference, though, I think, between Junior and Senior is I think Junior was ignorant of what a lot of this stuff did because it's how he was raised, but I think his heart was in the right place. Well, whereas I think his dad was just a scuzzball.
The Bushes are part of the old blue blood country club, Republican Party.
Which is why I said, I from what I've seen and interacted with, involved in dealing with them, I think he cared. He just didn't get it because he's so used to his upbringing.
Yeah.
And that's based on how he treated natives and all the stuff he's done helping people in Africa since he left the presidency.
But, the way they turned on Sarah Palin when she started going,
it's like, look, I detest Carter, but I gotta give him credit. I do think he genuinely cares about the poor and homeless. He spent a long time doing a lot of charity work trying to help them. I can give him that credit.
He was better as a former president, okay?
Yes, he's better.
We're still paying for the crap he did. They would not have to run if it wasn't for Carter.
I agree. I have a lot of issues with the stuff he did while he was president. However, I can also acknowledge that when he wasn't president, I still don't like the things he said and done. I still don't like the things he says. But the decades he spent spending his own money and his own time building homes for the homeless, doing charity drives and stuff, and he's not like the Clinton Foundation. The money he raises goes to the people he says it's going to.
And he actually, when he could, he actually would drive the nails himself. He'd be up there. Like I said, he was a much better former president than he was president. As a president, he was a walking clusterfuck. Well-intentioned, but a clusterfuck. Okay.
So I kind of rate those two in the same position. I actually don't think either is actually evil in their heart. I think they're really ignorant, but well-intentioned. Yeah. And that's the left and right versions of it, I think.
Yeah, I think they're part of this whole trying to New World. I mean, Bush 41 said himself, New World Order. That sounds interesting. You don't know what those words mean, do you?
No, I'm sure he heard them. I'm sure he heard them around home, and he heard them said in a positive light around home.
When Dad said it, though, okay, that it was that comes from this bunch over here. They're now calling it the Great Reset. This is not a good thing, people. We got problems. And I think of that when you start talking about that, that's when the re-election for kind of died a bit.
And see, I'm not a fan of either side. Yeah. I tried. No matter how bad people are, there's always something good they will do. Yeah. Look, I really detest both sides, but I can acknowledge when I think somebody did something right. And to be fair, I would have been able to give Trump more credit if he ever could have shut his fucking mouth. Yeah, because there are some things he did that are good, but every time he did a decent thing or a good thing, he went on Twitter and started tweeting about 5,000 things about why he did it just for his ego. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I want to give you credit for doing this one thing right. Shut up.
I think, a lot of what, he had a good chunk of the Republican Party fighting him, along with the Democrats, and you couldn't get half the shit done he wanted to get done. He had to pull all kinds of weird shit just to get the wall done as far as he could. You had to resort to Pentagon funding, which the stuff he had total control over. The Pentagon funding. Okay, yeah. There.
To be fair, we all knew he was full of shit at the beginning when he said he was going to do what he did, and he didn't fight as hard for it as he pretended he did.
Well, at the time he still needed Mitch McConnell and those days to get reelected. He gets back in this time.
I don't think
He's
he
only
ever
got one
believed
term.
in it. His company has used so much Chinese and Mexican labor over the years. I have no belief that he actually believes that. I think he said it because it was popular with the party.
Well,
I wish he'd actually meant it, because we've got to close the fucking border, because that is what's killing our people for the tribal stuff.
Mhm.
Because that's where the smugglers are coming from. That's where the traffickers are coming from. And that's where over 90% of the people being kidnapped in the tribes or being attacked, murdered, or raped in the tribes are victims of people coming over that border.
Yeah.
It's got to be closed to protect the indigenous. It has
and
to.
the materials are down there, just sitting there rusting away, and then good. And even
when people tried
can we do this? No, you can't. No, don't try.
Let's talk about the whole thing with them talking about the border cages and stuff. First of all, no, we should treat the kids with decency while we're finding out if they're with the people that are supposed to be with them, all that shit.
Yeah.
The living conditions they've been putting them in are abhorrent on the border. And that includes legitimate refugee seekers and all that are still put in that situation. And there should never be an order that the staff members cannot touch or help the kids when they need help.
No.
That is beyond ridiculous. However, I absolutely believe we need several days separation to verify that they're not being smuggled by coyotes, that they're actually with family, all that stuff. But when people tried to blame, I've watched this for the last several elections. They have been blaming Biden for it. No, it was happening over the last presidency. They blamed Trump for it. No, it was happening. There was a big crisis. Obama didn't start either.
He cranked it up with the cages. It wasn't quite as bad.
He increased it.
Yeah.
He increased the numbers. He also encouraged them to come here, which increased how many were trying to fit through a small area, which also made it worse. But it didn't even start under Obama. There was a giant crisis with it where people were actually going down to the border to help because it was so bad during Obama. But the policy didn't start with Bush either. It started during the early age of Clinton, and both parties voted for it and supported it.
We really want to crank it back to Ted Kennedy in the late 60s.
Yeah, but the actual
immigration was virtually, we had virtually no immigration.
Living conditions and stuff while they're being screened and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Actually started in early Clinton administration, and it was supported by both parties.
Yeah.
So I'm sick and tired of each side blaming the other side for it.
Yeah.
Take care, Steffi.
It's the often cited uniparty because they both want their lawns cut and their bathrooms clean.
Yeah, and they both think that's all that minorities are for. And, bro, you'll see one thing with me is I'll never tell people how to vote or not to, because I don't believe that's right. I don't believe that believes in liberty if you do that. I hate both sides, partly because I've had a lot of experience.
Who's going to clean the toilets then? You sanctimonious slave trading asshole! How dare you say that? Yeah.
That's the thing. These people legitimately view minorities as people to do their bitch work.
Yeah.
And both parties do it.
The Democratic Party has always been the party slave, and they never changed.
Unfortunately, though, the whole plan that the early progressives had, which was to embed themselves in both parties and switch them progressive, has worked. There's nobody in the sides, and I do not get people who think that Trump is an outsider. He was the one bribing them all and buying votes and power for decades.
Well, that's kind of how because he knew how the game was played. So that's what made him dangerous.
Yeah, because he literally plays it, and they always go, "Well, he was a politician." It's like, so who do you think the bigger?
He paid for several politicians.
Yeah, my question to those people, and this isn't, and I'm not saying he's better or worse than other people, but if you are those kind of person, who do you think is the bigger sinner, the sinner or the devil tempting him?
Well,
because that's a legitimate question to these people.
If Trump gets back in, he won't be facing re-election. So Mitch McConnell can go fuck himself at that point. It's going to be Orange Thanos time, I think. Because he's talking about he'll solve the deep state about in 6 months. Is that all I need? Because he's going to be firing people left and right.
I'm going to put it this way.
That's going to be like a bad episode.
I
of Apprentice. You're
worked
fired.
in the system for a while, in
Yeah.
the campaignings, caucus, and all that, in the political epicenter of Iowa.
Mhm.
I know almost every person in Washington to some degree.
Mhm.
They're all fucking sleazeballs, and Trump's just as bad. And that's from personal experience.
Yeah.
So, when people say, I believe this person's going to do better, this person's going to do better, I just sit there and go, they're all fuckers.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to tell people how to vote. I'm not going to
Yeah.
tell people that their opinions or their votes or their viewpoints are invalid because I feel this way because of what I've witnessed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look down on you because I don't vote the same way as you or we don't believe the same way as you. I will never be that person. I am just extremely jaded from what they put me through in the system when I was trying to make a difference.
Yeah. And that's it. Like, if at some point it gets right down to it, it's like, looking at hockey teams. Like, look, this player may be a goon, but he's our goon. Damn it. Okay.
But the early progressives,
Knock out their guys.
what became the American progressives, which was started in the 1800s, it was expanded.
Really kicked off with Woodrow Wilson.
Actually, before that.
Well, yeah, they started, but let's want to hit the high.
Well, I was getting into
Wilson
the
got
start of it.
Yeah.
I was getting into the start of it. The Progressive Party was officially declared in Madison, Wisconsin in the mid-1800s before the Republicans were even a party.
Yeah.
That's the first part of this story.
Mhm.
The second part is that they have always said since the beginning, because they were the rebirth of the Fabian Socialists,
Mm-hmm.
that their goal was to embed themselves in both parties and create two versions of the same ultimate goal. And that is what we have. We have nanny state right, nanny state left. And both of them are pushing us into a progressive ideal where the government has ultimate control. And that's why I have zero faith in either side.
Well, they're finding that the problem is when you try to do that with a country this big and this varied, you find a lot of people don't want to do that. And it's because the old thing is that before the Civil War was the United States are.
Well, look at it this way.
And after that, it was the United States is. It's going back to the United States are because they're breaking up.
Let's look at it this way a moment. We aren't supposed to be a two-party system. The reason people view us as a two-party system is because the pathetic fools on both sides think that they have no option but to vote for the R or the D.
Well, it tends to polarize. Any system, they tend to polarize out that way. Even Britain, you got Lib Dems, but it still tends to polarize out to the Tories or Labour. Yeah.
Because people are lemmings. That's the point I was getting at with that.
Other parties playing spoilers. Yeah.
The point I'm getting at with that is it's all about the lemming culture with that, because it's about we've got to fall in line with one or two. And you remember the old Simpsons episodes, right?
Vaguely.
The Treehouse of Horror, where they really got you into the aliens, where they kidnapped Homer during the election in '96.
Didn't see that.
End of the Treehouse of Horror, you find out that they replaced both candidates with alien replicas.
Mm-hmm.
And they start telling them, well, what are you going to do about it? You have to vote for one of us. And the next scene is them in slave labor for the aliens going, don't blame me. I voted for Kang.
I voted for Koloff.
Kodo, Sir Kang. That's what it's like. It's the same shitbird on both sides. They're doing this to divide us, and it's unfortunately worked.
Yeah.
And I don't want to play that game. I want to find common ground.
I think we're reaching a point that they always tend to overreach, and then the backlash comes back. No, and I think now it's like, okay, that's it. You're done. Because a lot of the uniparty Republicans have been gone. They didn't quite make it back. They were replaced by MAGA guys. So Trump gets back in. He's got a lot better base, especially in the House.
I'm just a very, very cynical person. And
I
believe that it's going to be a positive thing. I just don't. And considering the history of what I've been through and what I've witnessed, and what honestly both parties put me through when I was trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that it's worth my effort to get involved in the big scheme when there isn't a state I've ever lived in where I can make a damn difference in the election because it's very polarized to a certain side already.
Yeah.
So I don't give a shit about the presidential elections. I really don't. I care about the local because there I can actually at least try to make some difference.
And local is where actually the whole thing starts anyway. People have forgotten all that.
And so, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And it is, and I don't know if I chased off your audience with that one.
Oh, you got,
I told bro there,
Bro.
I don't care. I don't fight. I'm not going to tell people how to vote. I don't believe in doing that. So, but.
Is bro still there or what? Somebody's still there. Okay.
I have a lot of personal experience with these people.
Apparently I woke him up, so I don't know what's going on. Okay.
Yeah. I have a lot of personal experience with these people, and I hate both sides for a reason. And that's not going to change. And I will just tell you I thought I could make a difference on the right and get them to become better. And so for a while, I did join with the Republicans because I was trying to make a difference in the party and clean it up so we had at least one party that wasn't as corrupt. In the end, no. In the end, I left the party because they backed the person sending me death and rape threats for not endorsing somebody.
We're reaching peak stupidity. Okay.
And so, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say I like either side because I have zero faith in either side.
Yeah.
And considering that experience, I have every reason to have zero faith in either side.
Well, I got to think that it's building to a point where it's going the pendulum is about to come really swinging back. And look how far wacky the Bill Maher is now considered a hero on Fox News. He hasn't changed.
No, he hasn't. He's the same asshole he always was.
He's still the same childless, pot-smoking libertine he's always been. But when you have to go to
libertine, you actually got the phrase right. I give you credit for that.
I'm quoting him in one of his things. But when you talk about stuff like, shoplifting is wrong, maybe you go shopping, you should bring money with you. He has to have common ground with Ted Cruz rather than the liberal people who run the city. It's being stripped bare by these lunatics.
And that's the sad thing.
And he's also partnered with the trans thing.
This stuff is great. Just some nature to break up the crazy and the political. But no, I mean,
it's like when he has to,
I'm a very cynical
saying,
and
a baby is born.
woman.
Is it a boy or a girl? Well, let's not be too hasty here. It's like, what? Yeah, I know we see a penis here, but let's, what's wrong with you?
So what if it has a penis? Well, that means it's a boy.
Yes.
Science doesn't change because your fifis are hurt.
They'll say sex is not assigned, it's observed. They don't decide, well, let's just toss a coin. Is it a boy or a girl? It's a boy. Has it got a wing ding? Yeah, it's a boy. Next question. For Christ's sakes.
The world has gone batshit, and there's a few things that I have to say about it. Reasons why I don't believe one side or the other. Now look, when Trump was out there trying to get the pro-life vote, he was trying to play both sides. When we actually had all the investigative cameras catch Planned Parenthood in really horrific criminal acts, and they are absolutely guilty of them.
Oh yeah.
He actually went out in the media and defended them, and actually played interception in stopping stories from getting aired. That was during the 2016 election. And I dealt with this personally because of the work I do. So, and because my godson is a survivor, he's actually from the Born Alive situations. So, he lived through 2 abortions.
Okay.
So I deal with this stuff very deeply, and I'm involved in this. So I was pissed. I was pissed because the corruption that was caught on those videos is the thing that caused the abortions to be done to my godson's mother against her will
Mhm.
when she was 15.
Yes.
So yeah, we've been fighting this for decades, and
Yeah.
I was pissed. I was absolutely pissed that he helped protect them during that. Then he's sitting there going, I'm pro-life, does this big national speech about being pro-life while he's got his daughter a few hundred feet behind him in the White House meeting with Cecile Richards, who was the head of Planned Parenthood at that time.
Hmm.
So no, I don't believe a word he says on that topic.
I need to look into that one for now.
And
Because you can counter with, hey, you got the justice appointed that overturned it. So
yeah, but that doesn't
So
mean
that's,
that he agreed with that justice. There's a lot of justices that have been appointed by presidents and then did things against what that president wanted.
oh, I know, yeah. It's like
Look at
Eisenhower said the worst thing he ever did was, appoint Earl Warren to the court.
I'm trying to think. I have this.
Earl Warren wasn't a lawyer, or wasn't a judge.
I mean, look at Sotomayor.
Yeah.
That Obama
Mhm.
nominated and wanted her because he thought she was going to be this great liberal minority and stuff. And she's actually ruled pretty down the center and with both sides.
Yeah.
And he does not like her anymore.
There's a few instances where she asks some questions like, wait, what? Where did you go to
I'm not gonna say I agree with her on everything, but she is not what they thought she was when they decided to nominate her. He nominated her because it was a female minority that had a lot of attention and had been part of a lawsuit that fought a conservative company at one point. That's the only reason he nominated her.
You reminded her in one case, she's also still a practicing Catholic. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, and she sided with a lot of the pro-life stuff, even though Obama was the one who voted repeatedly against Born Alive Acts, where they can't kill the kid after it lives through the abortion.
Yeah, that was happened a lot in Chicago.
It still happens in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
These people who think that partial birth abortions are banned nationwide, they never happen.
Oh, yeah.
And there still are plenty of states where they openly will kill the kid when it's breathing air after the abortion fails.
Well, the same people are saying no one's transitioning kids. I got at least 15 of them in my Twitter followers that were medically transitioned before 18.
Do I
and every day
agree with either side? I acknowledge there are medical cases that need to be able to be done. And do I acknowledge a few of the laws that they're trying to pass right now cross that lines and would try to restrict medical access? Yeah. I've seen a few of them.
Yeah.
Do I think that they should ever be done if they're not for a medical need? No. So, I guess
the reason I'm pushing Indy's buttons is that lopping off perfectly healthy body parts is never a good thing, especially for a person. What it boils down to a personality issue.
And so, yeah, I'm kind of torn on some issues. I'm kind of torn on some situations, and I would say I'm mostly pro-life, but I understand the needs in medical situations. I understand what an ectopic can do.
Yeah.
One of the women that I knew that I worked with in a lot of the pro-life outreach for orphans and kids in need was a very young woman and recently married. And when she got pregnant, she was about 5 months along when she found out she had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
She carried the kid, and she died in labor from the cancer.
Yeah.
But the kid lived.
Mm-hmm.
But that was even she said at that point it needs to be a personal choice.
Yeah.
Because at that point, somebody's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
But she knew how bad of a cancer it was. She knew how quick it was spreading, and she knew she couldn't do the treatments and carry the kid.
Yeah.
She made that choice willingly.
Mhm.
I personally think she was a hero. She gave her life for her child,
Yeah.
flat
Yeah.
out.
And in that situation, it's like the cancer's probably going to kill you.
And she knew it.
Yeah.
She knew it going into it. And she said she was going to do the treatments because they would kill the kid.
Yeah.
So
Well, like, you got a choice.
I think in that situation, though,
it will die. No.
in that situation, it has to be a personal choice, though.
Yeah.
Because it's really bad.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue in dealing with sexual assault and stuff like that because
Yeah.
in some ways the child is also a victim of it.
Yeah.
And it's a really messy situation. It's not a simple solution.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is I don't think it should be completely outlawed to them. But all evidence, all studies, all statistics on it,
Mhm.
and all in experience I've had working with women like that over the years in the charity work I do, they are less likely to be postpartum. They are less likely to be suicidal. They are less likely to constantly relive the trauma of the rape if they get help and carry the kid than if they abort it.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that option or that open to them. And so it's a hard one to deal with
Mm-hmm.
because she didn't choose it at that point.
Yeah.
And I talk to people about this. I go, no, it's about compassion. I don't believe in just automatically, hating on women and stuff like that. I know a lot of women who are involved in a lot of movements about this stuff, and it's not that simple. It's just not. There's so many things. But
I kind of Rush Limbaugh's old line, the not being pro-life. I am pro-choice. I just prefer that choice be life.
I don't think that it should be legal to use it as birth control.
No, absolutely not. You're doing that. You're just shirking the responsibility as a human being.
And I think that these people who try to define the child as a parasite or say that she always has a right to get rid of it because she doesn't want it. It's like she's the one who created it. The child's the innocent one who didn't have a choice in the matter.
Cluster of cells. Yeah, once upon a time you were that cluster of cells. Okay, we were all that cluster of cells.
And so it's hard because I don't want an intrusive society, but I want to protect every child and every woman I can.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to do our best for that.
Yeah.
And look, I'll be honest with people. For how much the left tries to usurp all the Native issues, we are the most pro-life group by about 3 times more than any other group. And most reservations have banned abortion except for medical emergency.
Yeah.
So you're not going to win people over with it on the reservations.
No.
It goes absolutely to most tribes. There are exceptions. There always are.
Yeah.
To most tribes, it goes completely against our culture, our beliefs, and what we are. And so, sorry to tell people, but you're not going to win us over on this.
No.
So, we have to work on finding common ground. There have been so many targeted movements from Planned Parenthood trying to force their facilities and their beliefs onto the reservations, including them finding and buying somebody to try to win elections to try to implement it. Guess what? As little political power as you have, the people who've gotten into these elections and tried to do the stuff on the res have run screaming because they don't want to mess with the tribe when the tribe finds out what they are. And that's the thing. And that would be a sundog, which I don't know if you can see it well or not. No, that's bright. Sundogs are where you get the ring around the sun lit up like another sun.
annular or something. You know.
It's not common that they do occur.
Yeah.
So it's not a winning job to try to win over the tribe for this stuff. It's not going to happen. It's just not. It's not something worth trying to do.
I think there's still an element of just taking the native vote for granted, and like don't actually, you know.
And then there's these ones
never
that go
figure
in.
out, you realize nobody's buying this bullshit, right? You know.
And then there's these ones who go into these groups and they start talking about native stuff, and they try to act like they understand us.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, they don't have a clue about our culture.
No.
And when they start, the ones that get me are the ones who sit there and they make these comments about how, well, these states vote this way, so they should be merged together, or their votes should be cut back, or something. It's like, and you sit there and go, you mean 2 of the top 5 most native states should have their rights restricted because they don't vote the way you believe they should?
Mm-hmm.
How are you not racist again?
I think it's like, okay, so basically you're just advocating for a majority rule, because New York City has a greater population density than like the surrounding 5 states.
Let's look at it this way.
Like 7 Western states have less population than New York City, and New York City runs roughshod over the rest of New York State.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's look at it this way. My racial group is about 2% of this country's population. If you count what's left of our tribes in North and South America, we are about 1% of the global population. I don't want majority rules.
No.
Because guess who's going to get the shaft the most in that situation?
I think the usual rule, you know, line is, you know, majority rule is 2 wolves and a lamb voting for what's for dinner. A representative republic is a very well-armed lamb contesting the vote. And again, the people like, hey, it's threat to democracy. This isn't a democracy. It's a representative republic, and if the schools had done their proper job and taught you civics, you'd know that. You wouldn't be making this idiotic statement.
That was a really awkward one, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the lockdowns in 2020, in May, when the first date met where they were supposed to revoke the lockdowns and they didn't, the day that was supposed to happen, I took pictures of a cloud that literally looked like the sky was sticking a giant phallic symbol up at us. The day they revoked all those and tried to lock us down for years.
Oh, boy.
It's like, I think we were being told about something before it actually was announced in the news. I mean, oops, right?
Yeah, I think looking back on it, people are like, what the hell were you people thinking back then?
They weren't.
Yeah, exactly. But it's another case of like, you know, keep them all separated. A lot of this crap is an outgrowth, I think, of people being isolated and thinking of all kinds of weird things. Something Paul Shadow brought up on things is like, is it possible that all this trans stuff is like the latest answer to like what anorexia was back in the 90s? Yeah. It's the same demographic of people who are like, you know, girls seeking attention, upset with their bodies or whatever.
Except for more of the trans people are male trying to act like females than the other way around.
That's another issue. As far as the girls going, then I think he's onto something. I think it is just the latest version of like when everyone suddenly became anorexic. You know? Now, as far as the guys going, I think that's just a case of, you know, some opportunistic perverts see their chance for a cheap thrill.
Aside from a few that are legitimate cases where there's something wrong. I think a lot of it is.
Yeah, there's very few of those, though. There always has been very few.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. It's a very small percent of the population that has that. It's always been that.
So it's another case of where Bill Maher had become a bit of a hero because he's pointing out that the explosion, of trans people. Yeah,
I think a lot of it's also people who are confused because they have all these things being pushed on them, where every time you don't feel like the gender stereotypes, you must not be right with that gender. You must be trans. That's being pushed on. It's the same way in the 90s. Anytime you didn't feel like the way you were supposed to for that gender, they told you were gay.
Yeah. Go back in the 40s. I don't feel with it. Oh, lobotomy. It's proven. Doctors all over the country are doing it. It was a big craze.
I'd rather have a bottle in front of me. Sorry.
Frontal lobotomy. Yeah, a lot of crooked doctors and therapists made big bank on lobotomies back in the 40s. So enough people started realizing, you just turned my wife into a vegetable, okay? She just stands there staring into space, peeing on the floor. This did not work, okay? My daughter's eating cat litter. What the hell did you do? And I think we are setting up ourselves for another thing. That's like, you did what to my, especially when the don't tell your parents. Oh, the hell you, Yeah, that's where the lockdowns kind of backfire because now they're suddenly seeing all the. This is what they're teaching you in that school. Like the thing they get the kid there, you think the kid's not got another window up, playing Minecraft. Come on. But they start hearing this crap coming from the teacher, and then suddenly a very adult head pokes into the camera. What the hell did you just say? Like. Suddenly feed drops. We're looking up homeschooling right now. Where's the next?
Oh, goody! A bunch of my friends just jumped on her ass for saying that's a Native woman. This could be interesting to watch over the next couple of days. Babe, sit down and don't try to preach about foreign politics you have no idea or experience about. It's okay. The interesting one is the last comment, which is my friend saying the Australian government didn't treat the Aborigine tribes well either. He's going to be interesting because the one that just said that, I've known him for about a decade. So has my husband and my mother. He's been friends with us close and personally over in our inner circle in Facebook for a decade. And he is not hold bars about people saying shit to me. So that's going to be an interesting one.
So was one libtard guy, Jeffrey Levin. What thing of Trevor Noah. Remember, you don't have to stop a bad guy with a gun if you don't let him get the gun in the first place. And I fired back all caps. And just how do you propose to do that, Einstein? Appeal to the respect for law and order?
These are the people who don't want to close the border where all those illegal guns are coming from. So,
like, if I had the money, I could go out right now, probably someplace on Federal Boulevard, and come back with a fully automatic M16. Okay?
I got news for you. There are 3D printers that can make them with no serial numbers.
Oh, that too, yeah. If I, a decent 3D printer, the right material, yeah, I could do it.
Besides the fact, I know people.
Here's the receiver. Okay,
I know people who forge their own guns. They do it legally under the system, but yes, I know people who know how to forge guns. Bad guys will always have access to weapons. You will not stop that. It is never going to be stopped.
And it's also the FBI stats. More people die by hammers, okay, than by guns.
To be fair, I could take it. Never mind. I'm not going to say that comment.
Yeah. No. I mean, this bottle could break someone's head open, and not even break the bottle.
That's the thing. People are so
the old West movie. Someone's breaking a bottle with someone's head. That would kill a man. Okay. That is sugar glass designed to break and look pretty on camera. But
it won't always kill, but it definitely can often and get seriously injure.
you will fracture someone's skull, and you could possibly kill them on the spot.
Seriously injured to kill, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where people are like, well, we don't have to do this, we don't have to do that. It's like, bitch, I've been through assault and abuse. I have worked with victims for a long time. I'm not going to a victim's house while her boyfriend's threatening to kill and rape anyone within reach of her without being armed. Yeah. My dad had to shoot the neighbor's dog when it was trying to attack mom in our own yard. Yeah. You never know, especially out in the woods.
Oh, God.
That guy with a gun is not the only thing you have to worry about. You're in the middle of nowhere where you could be jumped by a wolf, a mountain lion, a bear, anything.
Rattlesnakes, yeah.
Oh my God.
That's the big word here is rattlers out here. Yeah. And mountain lions.
Yeah, I saw a rattlesnake a few days ago. Yeah. Actually, I had one time when I was hiking up in the Badlands, I was up on the peak of one of the mountain tips. Mm-hmm. And there's like one tiny trail that'll get you there. Mm-hmm. As I'm standing on the tip, I look down and there's a group of rattlers around me. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, make sure my foot's in the right spot. Back away.
You don't have to go very far out of town out here to get the sign.
Yeah, ironically, actually, my aunt's old house in the town I was born in, I actually had to help her track one that shed its skin crawling into the wall of her house. Ooh. So we found the skin with these bits of rattle stuck to it, and we could see it crawled into a gap that the rain had made against her house. It's like, oh boy. Not exactly aunt, it was my dad's cousin, but close enough, you know.
We're sophisticated. There's not a cow town anymore. Yeah, I've driven by the Coors Brewery and seen deer in the parking lot. Okay. Evergreen generally has bears going through dumpsters. Okay, this is still very much wild.
I got news for you. The city I live in is about 250,000 people. It's not a small city. It's not a major one.
Yeah.
It's a mid-sized, pretty decent-sized city, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a state that has, up until very recently, had a very low population for coyotes and wolves. Mm-hmm. I've seen a wolf outside my house in the city.
Yeah.
You're not safe anywhere in this world.
No, up in the mountains where my sister's got a house, I've seen bears wander around.
About a month ago, I was actually watching a grizzly bear chase a bison in the mountains here. So, yeah, I actually have the photos on this computer in one of the bison folders of a baby bison with grizzly marks ripped through its back. It survived. It actually got away.
Yeah.
But it had pretty good gouges.
They got a weapon, yeah. No, mostly brown, black.
But grizzly.
Yeah. At the Denver Museum, formerly of Natural History, now at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, there's a display in there. They're talking about how it was thought the grizzly bear was extinct out here until one poor schmuck out in the middle got attacked by one. And they got the hide in there with I think it was out with a bow in it, but he had to basically stab it with the arrow. He couldn't shoot it because the bear was on him.
Just remember, you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than one of your friends.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I say that?
Yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah. There's this rather famous, their kind of, I don't know, mascot thing. It's this big statue out in front of the thing. Old Bron's been there forever. Of this, Mama Grizzly standing up and kind of called Grizzly's Last Stand. I think with a couple of cubs at her feet. But yeah, at that point they figured that the grizzly had been driven extinct in Colorado. Guess what? They either wandered back from Wyoming or we didn't quite get them all.
Oh, I can tell you part of what brought the bears back to the Black Hills. Mm-hmm. We can't officially declare it because there's no physical evidence, but I know people who've admitted it. I know other people who've admitted it. Mm-hmm. The original owner of Bear Country used to release them if they got too crazy to control.
And grizzlies, that's not that hard.
Bear Country is a tourist site where you have a drive-through
Mm.
safari with all kinds of bears in it.
Oh, yeah.
They used to release them if they got out of control and were a danger to the tourists.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, there are supposed to be bears in this woods anyways. Well, they're actually correct, and they actually are needed in the ecosystem in this
Yeah,
woods.
I know.
But that's not a
That's not
responsible
the way you
way to
do
get
it.
them. No. That's not a responsible way to
You're
fix
supposed
it.
to kind of release them far out away from it. Don't just open the gate and let them go. Okay.
Well, they didn't open the gate. They actually did take them out in a truck out into the middle of the woods. But
Yeah, but still.
it's still, you're not supposed to do that yourself.
You call in fish and wildlife. Okay.
It's like, holy shit. And the thing is, they actually probably could have gotten the rangers to help them release them out in the woods because they
Yeah.
weren't trying to bring them back then.
Yeah. We
So
don't want
they-
to bother them. What's the difference here?
It's like, oh my god, you are dumb as fuck, aren't you? But I mean, I have seen. Okay, do you remember what the old West saying was about tempers? That there's nothing meaner than a one-eyed badger, right?
Uh-huh.
One moment here.
Yeah, but, like Wolverines, or when they're size of a large dog, they will take on a full-ground Kodiak and win. Okay.
And Wolverines and badgers are closely related and
Yeah,
have the same
they're
kind of
the same.
strength.
Mm-hmm.
So are Tasmanian devils in that family.
Yeah.
There's nothing meaner than a one-eyed badger.
Hello.
That is a one-eyed badger.
He's not happy.
I intentionally yelled to distract him because he was heading towards tourists that had their kid out in the field.
Ah.
So he was stalking towards our car, pissed off.
Yeah.
I did that because there was a nice gut lead between my car and him,
Yeah.
and it would take him a bit to get to us, and it gave them time to get the kid away from him.
Yeah.
And then I took some pictures while he was getting towards us.
What the
before
hell?
we
Yeah.
left.
Monetize his rage. Yeah.
This was years ago. I've watched him ever since because he was living right about where the two parks meet between Custer State Park and Wind Park along the nature trails.
Well,
And the thing is that where he's living is also one of the places where a lot of the coyotes and several mountain lions live. In fact, very close to his place.
Cool.
Now, we haven't seen him in the last year. We're pretty sure he passed away because he was old when I took this picture years ago.
Yeah.
And they usually only live 3 to 5 years in wild.
So, yeah.
He was old when I took this years ago.
Mhm.
And up until last summer, we were still finding him every few weeks or so.
Yeah. Old enough he lost an
He
eye.
was-
Yeah.
Yeah, he lived a long life, especially for that. He had a thing, he'd go over and he'd wait for the prairie dogs to calm down, and then he'd do this somersault jump over the edge of their hole into the hole and grab them.
Mhm.
He was vicious. I watched him do it
Yeah.
several times, but
Mhm.
I watched coyotes and mountain lions run from him. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
They were scared to death of him. That's in our backyard, basically. That's in between all the towns where I grew up, where he is.
That's why I stick to the suburbs, kids. Okay.
Okay,
You
you're in the
will
Black
not
Hills
find me
here.
building a house up in the mountains. Okay.
I would happily live here in the mountains
Yeah.
for the rest of my life, but I'm staying armed when I go outside.
Yeah.
But we've got a mountain lion that keeps walking through this tiny town where my mom is. I've run into it outside 6 times this year. And it just struts by. It doesn't seem to be aggressive towards the people in town.
How you doing? Yeah.
And which is a good thing because the first time I ran into it this year, since it showed up for the first time last summer,
Yeah.
first time I ran into it this year, I stepped outside into her carport and it was standing behind her car about 10 to 20 feet from me.
Whoops. Yeah. Bye.
Close. Back
I'm
slowly
not-
into the house while
I'm
keeping
not in
this,
that much of a hurry. Yeah.
back slowly into the house while keeping eyes locked so it doesn't think you're prey.
Yeah.
It's like, not today. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah, boss, I'm not coming in today. There's a mountain lion on the car.
Now, over in Hot Springs, where Mammoth Site and all that is,
Mhm.
which is a big part of the history of the Black Hills, and
Yeah.
Mammoth Site is the only place in the world where they were mammoth bones preserved without fossilizing. They actually mineralized.
Uh-huh.
And because of how they got trapped in a water trap, it actually mineralized instead of fossilizing. So they're the rarest mammoth bones in the world. So it's actually a really cool thing to go see, right?
Uh-huh.
That's Hot Springs. You leave Hot Springs heading towards the parks. Within about 8 miles, you're in the middle of the area with the most coyotes and wolves in this state, in the woods. It's literally minutes outside of town.
Boy.
All these pictures I'm always showing you of all the coyotes and wolves all over,
Yeah.
most of them are taken within 15-minute drive of that town.
Great.
I'm related to about half of that town to 2/3 of it. I have to quite please just stay armed when you're wandering around town, people. Please, because yikes, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like,
There was one time there was a local metaphysical bookstore that had a thing where the wolf rescue place, or close to the Fort Collins, but they came down and they brought a few because they had a problem with these hybrid, wolf dog hybrid. Someone thought they'd be cute, and they look so cute puppies, and then they grow up and eating a side of beef every day, and find out you can't leave them alone. Okay.
yeah,
they will destroy the place. Dogs and dogs, wolves, they're pack animals. You need to have another animal with them. Doesn't have to be another dog, but just another animal with them when you leave them alone. If they're by themselves, they will go nuts. They will tend to go nuts. And a wolf or a large dog is big enough and strong enough to do some real damage. Wolves don't even know to rip pipes out of the wall.
I'm going to see if I can make this a little less bright so you can see it easier.
Prairie dogs?
No.
Nope, I can't. I'm seeing shapes.
They're not prairie dogs. Those shapes, those are still listed as threatened. They're no longer listed as endangered, thankfully. Those are burrowing owls, one of the only non-nocturnal owls in the world.
Okay.
They kill the prairie dogs, eat them, and then steal their homes.
That's handy.
And then use their home to live in while they hunt their neighbors. I watched one of these guys, when I took these photos, rip the head off a prairie dog and throw it across a field.
Charming.
And these are small owls. They're about the size of the prairie dogs.
So it's a ready for a fight.
They're vicious.
Yeah.
But this isn't that far either. This is actually right where I told you One Eye lives. If you take this little side road that runs just inside Wind Cave Park along the fence to Custer State Park, this is about 1.5 miles up that road from that place where One Eye was all the time. They're burrowing owls. They're vicious. I also took a bunch of photos of these guys out in the Badlands. And yeah, they're mean as... Do you know one of the...
Owls are not the nicest creatures anyway. They're predators.
Well, I have a soft spot to predators. I really do. And I am so allergic to dogs, and yet I love photographing the wild dogs, even though they're dangerous to me.
Yeah.
And I love seeing the wild dogs in the zoos. I have a real soft spot for them. I can't go near them, but I like them.
Yeah.
Now, let's put a little bit to this. Me and my mom were hiking around at Hetty Draw a couple days ago, which is where the videos I recorded were taken, right? There's the main trail up to the gazebo and the overlook, where most of the tourists are. And then on the other side, there's a little pull-off on the other side of the ravine that Hetty Draws on, which is on Coolidge. You go across the road a little bit, and there's a little pull-off here, and you have some trails you can hike around that are more private on that side, right? So me and my mom parked, and we're hiking around there, and The first thing we noticed when we walked down below the car in the gravel area in the rock
Mhm.
side there
Mhm.
is that there was a very flat part of ground that looked like it had been trampled flat and smoothed out, and a pretty good sized hole going into the rocks under the road.
Mhm.
In other words, a cave had been dug under the road by something big.
Mhm.
So we decided we weren't getting that close to that part.
Mhm.
So we go over to the other part of the trail. We're watching the other section where that cave is while we're doing this.
Mhm.
And we go over onto the trail a little bit and we head a little towards the hill on the other side. So we're not as close to that cave. We're heading a little more towards the hill near us, right?
Mhm.
And we stop on the trail. Just in the middle of the trail is clearly wolf-shaped paw prints
Oh boy.
with ungroomed claw marks digging into the dirt. And it's still wet within the last half hour.
Mhm.
So we turn and head back towards the car. We get a few feet towards the car, and the wind hits us coming down that hill beside us that we're neck against.
Mhm.
And you can smell dog strongly.
Mhm.
It was near us watching,
Yes.
which is really interesting because when I told you I ran into the wolf that I ended up face to face with trying to do morning photos one morning,
Uh-huh.
that was at Hetty Draw.
Mhm.
So we decided we really wanted to hike around and take photos. Well, there's a lot of people over there, and wolves don't like crowds. So we went and drove across the road to the other side of the ravine and went and hiked with where all the tourists were.
Mhm.
Because we weren't going to be out alone near the dog. Call me crazy. I don't think a disabled woman and an old disabled woman should be alone near that kind of thing.
No, 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 no.
No. It was not a smart idea to stay there. So here's the problem I'm having now. We both all know that I do a lot of hikes, climbs, and stuff like that, tracking eagles all the time in winter, right?
Yep.
And in the dead of winter, when it's really cold, I'm not as worried about doing those. But I'm not going to be able to do most of my nature trails alone anymore.
Mhm.
Over in Iowa, along the trails where I do all this tracking, they're having an outbreak of bears.
Oh boy.
They've come back to the cliffs and the areas around the rivers with a vengeance.
Mhm.
And I'm telling my mom this is like, she's like, "You're not going out there alone, are you?" No. Good, and bring a damn weapon. It's like,
Mhm.
obviously I'm not taking those trails when my husband's not with me anymore.
No.
But it's like, it's annoying because I like what I do and I like being alone and having those times alone, you know?
Mhm.
It's like, I'm not stupid though.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put myself in danger.
Remember hearing a story way back when of Ted Nugent when he was tried to go out and do going out bear hunting with a 44 Magnum pistol. I don't know if it's true or not, but you know the way the story, he's going out there, he's doing with the handgun. Usually he doesn't go, but and he sees them, and it's a, I don't know, if it's a grizzly or a black bear or whatever, but the bear sees him and starts charging. He empties the gun into the bear, and the bear dies at his feet. And like this, it wasn't slowing down. It's like, and just,
Do I think it's possible that's happened to someone? Yes. Do I think it's possible it happened to Ted Nugent? No, because he's usually full of shit and trying to build himself up.
yeah, and I didn't hear. I heard of, you know, who knows how many he had, but and again, he generally he's into bow hunting more. I don't think he does much of.
Which is funny because
But he's got an arsenal to arm half of Michigan, but yeah.
which is kind of funny because honestly, he acts like a freaking racist pig when he's around natives, but yet he's obsessed with our weapons.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that exactly is, other than he's whacked out of his gourd. And I could say that, and I don't care. He and Kid Rock and them are fucking just as crazy as the leftist rockers are.
Mhm.
They are.
Yeah.
Do I think that they have some good music?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I really like any of the them that get political on either side?
Well, kind of like Kid Rock when he's kicked off the Bud Light thing with just emptying an MP5 into 3 or 4 cases of fucking as a bush. The grandpa's feeling frisky this morning.
Well, it's kind of interesting because
sum things up rather nicely.
you've heard me talk about Williamson Ree, the Indian white guy comedian.
Oh yeah, those. I think I may have seen them once.
Williams is kind of known. One of the ones he's known for doing off and on is making jokes about the Anheuser-Busch. That's a question, not a company, right?
Oh boy.
That's just their little way of saying hi. How you doing?
Yeah.
Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god.
Okay, I just posted when I posted the indie video on there, put upon for all you who drop off after the first 3 minutes, y'all are missing some good stuff, like why Indie is frequently late to her own live streams. See if that generates a little traffic.
But apparently she hasn't responded to me since I responded saying, and this is where I tell you what to do to yourself.
Yeah, I don't think she was expecting backup.
The one that said that stupid shit about the indigenous comment. I responded to it by saying, and this is where I tell you what to do to yourself. An Australian woman tries to speak for American politics, and when an indigenous woman calls out, she tells her, so it isn't about you, because, we don't count as Americans, right? She's not talking to me anymore.
Gee.
I wonder why.
All right. Yes, there are parallels between what we've done to the Indians here and what the Australians have done to the Aborigines. But I think maybe there is some difference there too. Okay.
Well, let's look at one thing with that. And look, I will argue with the right. It was absolutely genocide. It was absolutely stealing land and abusing stuff. This argument people make that it wasn't stealing, it was conquering. Conquering means stealing and keeping. Yeah. That is what it means. That's not different.
It's right of conquest, and we were better.
And we can get into that argument. Yeah. We can discuss that. And I don't think it made things better for natives. It's still worse for natives. And I don't think some of the cultures that were here were dark, and some of them were actually in a pretty good harmony with themselves. Yeah. And it was intrusive. It was that, but we can get into those discussions and debates, and I don't think we're innocent either in it.
That's an historical thing.
To have some princess in Australia trying to speak to me, and you know what? As bad as the stuff that was done here was, they sent the criminals to that island to banish them, knowing they would kill off the natives, not caring what they did to that island. So don't talk to us and act like you're the British Army.
Do the British Army's dirty work for them.
Let's talk about what did he say in Princess Bride? And as everyone knows, Australia is entirely peopled by criminals. I called Lethal. He's a penal colony wanker. Yeah. I mean,
like with Paul Hogan. We got a couple of counterfeiters back there and a few petty thieves. Yeah, most of the Australian families who have been there for a number of generations. They got criminals in their thing.
If you know Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy.
Yeah.
He has a skit where he talks about the fact that when he was in Australia, this Australian guy gave him a knife he made him. And he forgot to check it in at the airport because he was a little drunk.
See.
And he says, I started getting there at the airport. And what's worse and what offended my drunk brain is they didn't see me as a threat. They started making jokes about, fat guy's going to hold us up and stuff. Like, oh my god!
Like, should I be relieved or insulted here? Yeah.
Well, apparently his drunk brain found it insulting, not relieving. So, but it's like I could see that from Australians.
Yeah. Like he breaks down, the difference, of fat. You got You got fat, husky, fat, fluffy, and damn.
And then we added the new one. Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. 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 He talked about the guy that got offended at his show because his shirts only went up to a 5X and you don't have anything big enough for me. And he sits there and goes, I was looking at him going, I didn't know they made you.
Oh, God.
But I've actually seen him in person. He's a lot more hyperactive than you would think a fat guy is.
Probably keeps him alive.
Also,
energy levels dropped, he wouldn't be able to get back up.
Also, he is very attention deficit. He cannot focus. He bounces from like 30 stories.
Yeah.
His shows, they've definitely edited to fix his bouncing from topic to topic. Because, oh my God, in person, he cannot focus.
Yeah.
He's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's fun to watch. But and he was talking about the fact that so he's doing the show down in Riverside, the future birthplace of Kurt, down at their big casino.
Okay.
And he was talking about doing the show at the casino, and they overbooked his tickets. So then they decided not to have him in the theater inside, but just to cordon off the parking lot and do a giant concert outside. And he says, so this is so insulting. They've got the Mexican telling jokes out in the parking lot. And I'm sitting there going, And he's halfway through a joke, and all of a sudden you hear in the distance over at Riverside, somebody's firework goes off. He's jumping like this. Like, I've never been heckled by fireworks before. Or at least I hope that's what they were.
Oh,
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But Iowa has problems with big and violent mosquitoes.
Oh God. Yeah.
And they were bugging him on stage. And we get into a little bit, and he said, they're going, these mosquitoes, I mean, I sit there at home, and the ones I get at home go like, these guys are like, boom. I'm going to get home, and they're going to look at me and go, hey, essay, who beat you up? Skeeter.
I like when he slapped back someone trying to, they canceled Speedy Gonzalez. Because he had just started doing the voice in the newer cartoons. Hey, wait a minute here. Speedy Gonzalez is the hero.
I loved his post that said, you can't cancel me. I'm the fastest mouse in all Mexico.
I was like, really? It's pretty, because they've been ratting and raving about, a black character. You know, be voiced by a black actor. Okay, one, it's voice acting. It should matter if you can do the voice, okay? But
second of all,
it's a Mexican doing Speedy Gonzalez. What more do you fucking want?
My name is Slowpoke Rodriguez.
The
slowest mouse in all Mexico. And he always said, Rodriguez always said, Mexico.
I'm the slowest mouse in all Mexico, but I carry a very big gun.
How many times did Speedy have to save his life?
Well, I don't know about that. The one time I remember seeing that, how we're Slowpoke Rodriguez going along, and so that's when all right, I can get this one in. That's when this one's I may be a slowest mouse in all Mexico, but I carry a very big gun. And whips out this revolver 3 times his size.
But
at that point, Sylvester becomes a vegetarian, I think.
One of these days, I'm actually going to manage to get the damn pictures of the Roadrunners. They don't hold still very well.
Well, no.
We have them in this area.
They got a reputation to keep up. We probably got them out here. I don't know. We certainly got coyotes.
It's just crazy.
And no one's watching.
Sorry.
That's no problem. It's late. It's almost 2 hours. I should probably wrap this up before it goes weird again.
Goes weird?
Something always usually when I start doing the late, it's like the cable just zonks out for one. That's when you get the thing where I can't get back on.
My favorite joke though that Fluffy did, I cannot repeat on air. I didn't see it when I watched any of the public screenings.
We're far enough in. Say it, okay?
Okay, let's hope you don't get.
We can start quoting Blazing Saddles at this point. Yeah, we're Pat.
Okay.
Open the
So,
15 minutes.
you've seen the Fluffy movie, right?
No, I have. I've seen some of his routines, but
okay. There's a part of it where he's talking about being heckled by people of different races, and so he gets into this joke and I'm making fun of all these people. Like, what race are you? Well, you drink this and you do this, and I had these two little guys. These little German guys, they sound like Hansel and Gretel or something. And they start comparing them to all these different characters that are like Nordic or German and stuff. Yep. And then compares them to the three pigs from Shrek. I just, at one point, I got there and they kept heckling me. I was getting so angry. And finally they yelled, "Hey, fuck man! What about we Germans? What do we drink?" And I looked down at him and I said, "I don't know, blood of the Jews."
Oh.
And you can see as he's recanting this story, you can see the whole room stopped when he said that. They're looking like,
ooh. He actually went there, yeah.
And the guy stared at me for a second and they shook their head and they went, "Okay, fat man, that's a good one." I was like, oh my God.
Well, he's got a thing where he breaks down different kind of Hispanics. Everything Mexicans got a like Puerto Ricans really hyper, and but Cubans scare the crap out of they go, "What do you want?" It's like, "Well, shit, man, I just want a burrito, man."
The thing that gets me, you saw his Hawaiian special, right?
Possibly, I don't know.
And he was talking about going to the luau's. He starts talking about how you can tell you're an authentic Hawaiian luau versus going to the fake ones. And his explanation of the authentic one is, so you're asking your questions, and you get to that, and about how long this will take. We'll get there when we'll get there. We're going to get there on Hawaiian time.
Island time, yeah.
Well, the thing is, that's not even island time. This is Indian time on the islands.
Okay.
This is Indian time. This is a real thing. Okay. There is no exact scheduling with natives. There's no fucking way. Trying to get my family to be on time to anything. Oh my God, fucking pulling teeth. It's like, is the sun in the general direction of where we were aiming for? We're good. Fuck it. That's Indian time, and it is a fucking real thing. It is so fucking real. Oh God, I hate it. I hate it. I am so OCD. I can't take it. I can't take it. It is real. It is so real, and I've had to deal with it so many times. Oh my God.
I know I mentioned it before, but you ever seen the documentary Real Injun about Indians in the movies?
Yeah.
I know. Have you seen
it? Not sure.
I checked it out in the library one time.
That's one of the few words that makes me cringe.
Yeah. It's all talking about natives, filmmakers and stuff, and about the history of
I know. And yet I still sing that stupid song from Peter Pan, and they say it several times in it.
What makes the red man red?
You remember the Disney's Peter Pan from back in the old days, right?
It's been so damn long since I've seen Peter Pan.
We're following the leader, the leader, the leader. We're following the leader wherever we may go. We're off to fight the and I sing this, and then I go, "Wait a minute, you're not going to fight me," and my nieces will start laughing. I'm terrible. I swear, I make the most inappropriate jokes.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's funny as hell. Like, what's a 7-course meal on the reservation? A 6-pack and a puppy.
Oh God.
What do you call an Indian with an IQ of 100? A tribe.
The one they're talking about, one of the movies about the depiction of the typical res car, where an old beat up sedan can only go in reverse, so they drive around reverse everywhere. Every res apparently has one of them. But one of the guys talking about, you break it. We all come from a tribe. You go back far enough, okay? I mean, in my case, you got to go back pre-Roman, England, but
Mm-hmm.
I think my case would be Cantaleone, Central Britain. Yeah.
It's weird that people get so uptight over something. Okay. I could always sing the Indian version of How Much Is That Doggy in the Window. You're already seeing disaster with this, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How much is that doggy in the window? I'm really quite hungry, you see. Is that a Pomeranian or a pit bull? A real Indian delicacy. Yum, yum.
Oh.
And if anybody tries to flag you, I have the documentation to prove I'm native, so shut up, people.
It's almost 2 hours in. They're going to give a shit. It's only like the first 15 minutes where they start, getting picky. After that,
I say the most inappropriate stuff, and my friends just sit there and stare at me like, she didn't just say that.
yeah.
And of course, my response is, yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I have said that to people when they look at me and go, you didn't say that. And I went, didn't you hear it come out my mouth?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if it came out my mouth, I said it. I mean,
Then I could probably start quoting, lines from Blazing Saddles right now. They wouldn't give a shit, but
I remember when I played Blazing Saddles for my godson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Offer a laurel and a hearty handshake to our new. No, I'm not going to say.
No, you idiot. The new sheriff is a.
What is it? The new sheriff is near.
Here's the thing. Okay. I played this for my godson. A little context. My godkids were adopted by a minister. They were raised in church. In fact, they lived in the building connected to the church.
And the parsonage, yeah.
My godson is. My goddaughter is half black.
Mm-hmm.
And then mostly white with a little bit of Blackfoot on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
My godson is very darkly black.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when he turned 18 and she said she wasn't going to try to control what he watched anymore, I played Blazing Saddles for him for his birthday movie at the house. For the first few minutes, he looked absolutely shocked and almost freaked out. Mm-hmm. And about time they heard, I specifically heard you ask for two.
Yeah. Well, to be
but my grandmother was Dutch. I guess I cannot make myself say slurs. I can't. Yeah. I don't say them. I never have. So
I was about to cite that very line though. Yeah, confidentially, my granddad.
But also, he went from that uncomfortable face for the first few minutes before that to starting to smile a little and laugh kind of under his breath there. He laughed so hard through that movie, and then he went, I almost felt guilty for laughing. It's like, don't. Yeah. You're making fun of that.
Yeah.
Especially when you got to these are the common clay of the Old West. Morons.
That was an ad-lib, actually. That last bit was an ad-lib on Gene Wilder's part. That's why Cleavon Little busted up.
Have you watched the behind-the-scenes stuff on when Wilder did producers with him?
Probably because I've got the DVD, so it's not.
It wasn't on that. It was an interview they did with him not long before Wilder passed away.
Yeah. I know that speech in the courtroom was all Gene Wilder. He wrote that himself.
The Blanky scene was not scripted.
Nope, that was.
In fact, you know the story behind this and why he freaked out. Bloom was modeled after him.
Yeah.
Because he actually had all those anxieties and was that shy.
Mm-hmm.
B, that scene happened because he was clinging to the corner of the blanket from his dog that was dying at the time.
Oh,
So when Zero just was
Yeah.
wildly grabbing things and acting
Yeah.
out, he had a complete anxiety attack
Yeah.
on set.
mhm,
After it was over and they
Yeah.
stopped the cameras when they realized he
Mhm.
wasn't faking,
Yeah.
he watched the scene with him and said, "Leave it in. It's actually funny."
yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Zero
type of person-
Mostel was the kind of character, though.
The kind of person who can
Mhm.
watch themselves go through that kind of trauma and go,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it was funny.
No, no,
Leave it in.
don't
Let
do it.
people
Yeah,
laugh
it's-
at it."
Yeah. mhm. They don't know what the background is. To them, it's gonna be funny.
The fact that he had that kind of sense of humor, though, says everything.
Yeah.
The fact that he was going through all the disabilities and all the
Mhm.
dementia and Alzheimer's and all that he had, because he had both in the late
Yeah.
years,
Mhm.
and he hid it from the fans because he didn't want the kids to think Wonka got that frail,
Yeah.
because he wanted the kids to still believe in the magic.
Yeah.
That was his words as on the last day
Yeah.
before he passed away.
He's very
his
protective of
family.
Willy Wonka, yeah. Well,
He went through all that without telling the fans and without having more support system, because
mhm.
he didn't want to take that magic away from the children and fans.
I know he was very
That is-
offended with
that is a
Johnny
hell
Depp
of a
with
guy.
the Charlie
That is a
Tucker.
hell.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
he was. That is a hell of a guy, though, that's willing to take on more
Mhm.
just to try and protect the innocence of others and be a good fan to them, you know?
Some of the stories behind making that '68 movie, though, there was something they wanted. They wanted Zero Mostel to do something, but no one wanted to go up and ask him. It was Zero Mostel, a very imposing character. But they, got Mel to go in. We need to, forget what exactly it was, but and he goes in, talks to him in the dressing room, and he, wants him to trust him. I said, okay, yeah, Mel, no problem, no. But I'll tell you what, I'm gonna have to yell at you right now because I gotta maintain a reputation for these guys up front. Okay, so no, we'll do. We're fine, but this is nothing personal. What do you think? You in a damn time? I get the hell out! Go away! No, you come back here! And Mel had it back. I think he's gonna be fine. Had to put on a show for the crowd.
And the thing is that everyone said that Zero was both that egomaniac they portrayed him as, but also actually really nice when he got
Yeah.
past that.
Mm-hmm.
They said he was the weirdest guy that was both.
It was an
That he
honorary
was-
monster in the Muppet Show. So.
They said one moment he'd be absolute, and he was a raving egomaniac on set. But when he thought he could do something to be nice to somebody else on set, he would suddenly.
I think he fought to get top billing on these pros, and he's going to maintain it.
Zero had a weird personality, but
Yeah.
there was something special about him.
Remember, let's see, when they're the whole thing of when they're filming the Springtime for Hitler bits.
Yeah.
One of the chorus girls supposed to come down when they're one of the beer and the pretzel, and one of them was supposed to have a couple of big squash stickers on her boobs. I'm not coming down with no, and they eventually changed it to a couple of big war eagles, but there was a bit of an impasse there for what the hell we got to do? We got this set up again. And then the working with the choreographer, it's like, okay. And they have the dancers kind of form with a swastika, kind of go, just kind of rotating, and just talk about, can we do this? Can we actually do this for God's sake? What the hell are we doing? We're doing a Nazi musical. They're gonna hang us.
Well, they had legitimate fear about making that. And the thing is,
Oh yeah, I know, but that was
you
kind of the
realize
point.
the movie was not supposed to be named the producers.
No, the original was Springtime for Hitler. Yeah,
Yeah,
but we
they
can't really
made him
do
rename
that.
it. You also realize they didn't want him to do the voice part. They didn't want him to play in the movie at all because of his
Yeah.
not just being Jewish, but how close his family was tied to what happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, he served.
They
in the war.
told him they weren't going to approve him playing in it.
Mhm.
That's why he did the voice but not the body on the one guy
Yeah.
when he said that line, because they would not let the Jewish producer say that line And so he waited for the censors to leave and then put his voice over the guy's body when he did it.
But the guy didn't have the right joie de vivre to go, you know.
He didn't look right for that voice.
Yeah. But it's like he
But
delivered the lines.
he wasn't.
You're not really
The
giving it to him.
censors. I understand why the censors thought that was really pushing the line to have the Jewish guy say that line. But at the same time, it was the Jewish guy who wanted to say that
The
line.
Jewish guy is making the movie. Come on.
Look at that. That is the base of Rough Rock Falls out in Spearfish Canyon.
But they wanted that, you know, get that kind of, don't be stupid, be a schmoy, come and join the Nazi party. Come on.
And they used that same audio over the other guy when they remade the producers for the musical version.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I actually appreciated because they were keeping some. Look, did they add stuff because they were making a full musical out of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I think Broderick was as good as Wilder? No.
No.
Do I think Nathan Lane made a good replacement for Zero? Yes.
Nathan Lane's probably one of the few people who could fill in for Zero Mostel.
He's
got
did
the same
that
kind
role
of
well.
energy, yeah.
I was annoyed that they used Uma Thurman. I can't really stand her.
I was annoyed that they cut the King of Old Broadway number from the movie.
But actually, I do like some of the. I do like some of the scenes they added and some of the songs they added, and they still did. Even though he didn't technically work on it, they still could talk to Brooks constantly and got his approval on things.
Yeah,
and it's not a bad version. It's not the original, but it's not the same magic as the original. But it's not bad.
Yeah. But they on one it was on Letterman that they did the King of Old Broadway song, and the cast and and then when the movie came out, where's the number? What the hell? And then the deleted scenes. That's the best number in the whole damn play. What the hell are you guys doing?
It's interesting.
Especially the part where talking about his mentor on his deathbed.
I mean, there's some people that have a magic with how they do musical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Most musicals are annoying, but I would not mind ever getting to see Spam-A-Lot with Hyde Pierce doing it.
Yeah,
it's still based on Monty Python's Holy Grail. And fuck's sakes, David Hyde Pierce is awesome.
Oh yeah, he was talking about him and Hank Azaria when they were doing that thing. You've
heard his therapy song, right?
Not offhand. Hold on, let me get that.
When you're off air, I'll actually just give you a screen share of it because I have it in my favorites saved. Which I swear doesn't say anything about me, right? And I share this with you. You have to read the captions at the bottom because in the beginning he's doing this whole bit with multi-language stuff, and it is actually really funny. But you have to read some of the translations.
Mm-hmm. Where? Hey, come on! Where is that? Damn it! Oh, here we are. No, the King of Old Broadway thing. We're talking about. He was the protege of the great Boris Tomaszewski. Ooh, yes! Tell me everything I know. I'll never forget. He turned to me on his deathbed and said, "Nachsala, what's that mean? I have no idea. I don't speak Yiddish. Strangely enough, neither did he. But in my heart, I knew what he was saying. He was saying, when you're down and out, and everybody thinks you're finished, that's the time to stand up on your own 2 feet and shout, who did the fuck to get a break in this town?"
I actually was surprised.
I found that very inspirational.
With Spaceballs,
Mm-hmm.
Mel Brooks talked about the fact that there was things they made him take out of every movie, like his favorite line that he wrote in Blazing Saddles they took out, which was,
sorry, man, but you're sucking on my elbow.
Suck it on my arm, yeah. But I mean, with Spaceballs, they actually allowed him to play in a bunch of theaters. This trailer he made, where they did the whole opening like the old sci-fi movies, where they hold the name up and then it big in your screen and then it drops down and stuff.
Yeah.
And they did that with it, and it just said space drops out, and all of a sudden the E opens up and you see a door, and he turns, looks, and goes, space, just space. Where the hell are my balls? remember they let him play this trailer
yeah.
in theaters.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god. I'm sitting there going, oh, that was the 80s. God bless the 80s, right?
I was thinking all these people think George Lucas must be pissed. No, he screened it for George Lucas. He laughed his ass off. Okay.
Well, it's like they made all the jokes about how
Like, no, George
Lucas. They
sat
made
right
all the
next to
jokes
him. He
about how
loved it, yeah.
Lucas was going to sue him in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back too, and he actually helped them write some of the scenes making fun of his stuff.
He loves it when he did, like when Robot Chicken were doing those.
Now, see, that show I never could stand.
But they brought the crew up to this Skywalker because they think they did some of the sound mix in the Skywalker Ranch actually. But they brought them all up there and gave them all lightsabers.
Yeah.
So George has a pretty good sense of humor regarding this stuff. I think,
He does.
if he's a kid movie, he's not that precious.
He's always had some sense of humor about himself, and that's actually one of the endearing things. Mm-hmm. Look, are there a lot of things I find annoying about Lucas? Honestly, yes. Mm-hmm. Do I think he's full of shit when he, at one point, years back before he sold it, Disney made an offer and somebody asked if he was going to take it, and he compared selling your shows to Disney with literally selling your baby to slave.
Well, that was after the deal. That was right after the deal.
He did it before too. And he still sold to them. And that's the problem that I had is he's such a hypocrite on that.
Well, I think when he sold, he was assured, no, they'll take good care. Well, mind the thing, and they lied to him all the time.
But he knew that they had that reputation for doing that to people.
Yeah.
He knew. He commented on it for years. He kept saying, I'll never sell to them.
Well, he had a relationship with Bob Iger through the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Because Iger was an up-and-coming, he was the one in charge of managing that one for a while. So I think he thought, okay, this is someone I can trust here. Okay, Iger's done good in the past, But once you get to that point, and I think also he thought Kathy would be a little more reliable. So he'd already put her in charge to oversee things, but little did we know she was going to make her life's mission to wreck everything. Put her own stamp on this thing.
Never trust feminist twat bags who make their career acting like hookers. Just saying.
And apparently she was at a screening of Saturday Night Live and commented to a friend, there's no women camera operators. You recall what size a TV camera was back in the 70s? There's a reason why cameramen were big hulking guys, because the camera at that time was like the size of a Volkswagen. Not a matter of equality, it's a matter of who can move the fucking camera.
And that is that too. I just find so much of this stuff ridiculous and
there were plenty of women on staff at Saturday Night Live even back then. Writers, the costume, the makeup people. There were plenty of women on staff. They were not underrepresented. Just that find a woman at that point who can move a 300-pound camera in a timely fashion. The cameras I dealt with when I was at school in San Bernardino, they were not at these mall. But we're getting off into the week. I think, it's a little after 2 hours. I think we're going to wrap it up here.
I'll play that song for you real quick, and then I'll have to take the bed.
All right. Okay, I'll just get it so we can do it off air here. So, okay, so I've done my little, again, throwing back at the guys who want to defend it. Hey, watch the entire video, guys. Don't just bail that after 3 minutes. So we're just going to pull it here. I'll even skip the end thing. So, and